it sounds like Lendlord was really launched, and London was the base or the core of where the business was. Why there, not Tel Aviv? What was it strictly the way they do business? What was it about London? The demand was greater in the UK. What was going on?
So the UK market is the largest market, or one of the larger markets in Europe. Okay, so when I looked at opening a startup, you want to see that you have a decent market, and Israel is very small relative to the UK. The market now, in terms of the finance, is very organized. So there are you have certain criteria for each lender. You have products that are public, so you can basically have access to this data. And this is not the case in Israel, in other territories. By the way, Canada is a bit similar to that, to the UK, in terms of the way it's structured in terms of lending and mortgages. So, and also it was a territory that was close to my place, so it's like almost the same time zone. So it was also
Makes sense.
yes, and
there's a practicality to it all.
Yeah. And so like the combination of all, and of course also my co-founder is from the UK, so he had the network, the knowledge to get started. So basically everything said, okay, we need to start in the UK, but I would not say the final station, because we started an activity in Canada, and we consider to look at other territories as well.
So give me the kind of a rundown. Now, you said earlier on, there's, this is, technology that you've taken, and you've, I guess, done a lot of work in behind the scenes for landlords. So in other words, what I'm hearing is, if I'm a user of Lendlord, I'm uploading my portfolio, I'm putting numbers in, I'm using the data that's in behind there. At some point, pro formas are being generated, and or something that is saying, hey, your loan to value, I'm just using an example, is 50%. You have access to some capital here. Are you interested in doing that? And or I'm saying, I would like to access some capital, maybe bring my leverage back up to 75%. I don't know what the numbers are. If you could maybe give us that. And then of course, in behind all that is a lot of data in terms of what current rents, current market rents in a region, for example. Like, give us some background of what Lendlord provides as a platform for landlords, and does it work for smaller, landlords that have 1, 2, 5 doors, for example?
Yeah. So our slogan is make decisions based on data, less on intuition. So you're definitely right in terms of the main value of Lendlord is, once you store your data and manage and track it on our platform, then you have everything that you need in order to make your next decision, or to find the opportunities that you have right now. So now, in terms of the platform, we have basically 3 main parts. One is the invest. In the invest part, you can analyze potential acquisitions.
Yep.
So it can be rental properties or flip projects, and understand the metrics behind, like, just to see if the numbers stack up and if it's worth to invest or not. So this is one area. Then the second area is, after you acquire the property, is the manage part of the platform. So here you can manage your existing portfolio. We store over 150 different data items on each property. There are no mandatory fields. You can just start with typing the address and then add more data and tweak it afterwards. And you can also upload your spreadsheet, like, in a very easy, simple way. And then in this area, you can basically review, as you said, your current loan to value level, your equity level. But what nice about Lendlord is that we take some of the tools of the invest part to your existing portfolio. So you can actually stress your existing portfolio for the next 10 years. And you can see what is going to be your equity level in 10 years, or the overall loan to value, based on several assumptions in terms of property appreciation, rental appreciation, inflation, and also in terms of the ongoing. So you can track your cash flow. So you can link your bank accounts and reconcile and allocate transactions to a specific property. So by that, you can track the performance of each properties. And then you can see, okay, I have a problem with this property, and this property is now ranked 8 out of 10 other, like the entire portfolio. So perhaps I need to make decision regarding this property. Perhaps we should replace it. And then you can run what if scenarios on the My Portfolio page. You can use the deal analyzer to analyze a potential acquisition, and then add it to your portfolio and remove another property to see how your portfolio will look if you are going to perform this acquisition.
So the data that's you're putting in, you said, you talk about the different assumptions, including appreciation as an example. Are those assumptions that you as the user are making, and or is there data, supporting data that you're gathering? Is there AI involved in the platform that's scraping data and giving you something that's based on a lot of information that's coming in?
So it depends on the territory. So in the UK, we definitely have it.
Yes.
So basically, we have enough data points, and we have APIs to provide this data to the investor. And in Canada, soon we will be there. So currently, we need the user to put his own assumptions, but he can run different scenarios, and he can see all the metrics he needs like instantly. He can generate reports, like for the potential deal, and share it with his agent, with his partner. So it's very valuable in terms of that. But in terms of the data insights about the area, about the property itself, it's still like lacking, but definitely we are going to bridge this gap. But in terms of insights for your existing properties, then I think it's, even if it's your assumption, I think that when you actually own a property for years, then I think you can assume, based on your history, if the history of the property, what is going to be in the next 10 years, and the way that you can see your entire portfolio, how it's going to be in 10 years. I think it's also valuable. So I think that in terms of AI insights, all of this should come, I believe, in the next few months, once we have more data points. But in order to manage, the ongoing of your portfolio, Lendlord is a great tool for you. And also, if you want to grow your portfolio, and analyze the potential deals that basically coming in, or if you have new opportunities that you want to analyze.
Got it. Now, I'm going to ask this question, and I'm assuming the answer is going to be yes. But I think about technology, and I think about these platforms, and I've seen lots of platforms. I actually did spend a little bit of time on Lendlord platform with a friend of mine. But from your perspective and the feedback that you're getting, is the platform, I guess, user friendly? Do you get that feedback that it's pretty user friendly? Is it okay if somebody has 1, 2, or 3 doors again, or is it really built for larger portfolios?
Yes, I will answer this first because I forgot to answer it before. So actually, we actually beat Lendlord for the average landlord, the average property investor. So it's definitely for property investors on Lendlord that own only 1, 2, 3, 5 properties.
Yep.
We do have landlords with 20 plus properties and large portfolios, but it's definitely for even for newbies or people just want to get started. It's a great way to analyze your first deal, and so it's definitely also for beginners and small landlords, and this is for that. In terms of I think that the platform is very user friendly. Okay, so I'm biased, but we do get feedback from our users on an ongoing basis. And we invest a lot in the UX aspect of the platform. So we have a UX designer, very experienced one, and we get a lot of feedback. So, and we encourage our users to use we have a chat box that user can send, you can send us feedback, of course, report bugs, but also put some suggestions about new features or feedback about existing features, and we try to take it seriously and basically evolve the platform, enhance the platform based on this feedback.
So, as you're describing this, to us, I see lots of advantages to it. But of course, in the background, I can't help but think that given what's going on in the banking world today, the mortgage financing world today, I'm curious as to how effective is this, in this lending environment, this current lending environment. Is it helpful or is it not so helpful? How are you guys finding it specifically to Canada in this case, given that's, US and Canada is the majority of my audience, although we do get into the UK. So I'm just curious in terms of the lending side of it, give us a little bit of a methodology, if you will, of how that works and how it's working given this environment.
Yeah. So I will start with the UK and then what we are doing today in Canada and what are the plans for Canada. So
Beautiful.
in the UK, we actually act as a lender. So we are basically, we have the underwriting team in house, and we provide the short-term loans for property investors. And we developed a model like based on technology that like he knows to score the borrower, the property, the area, and based on that generate indicative terms instantly, and then the entire process can be performed in a digital way, so the user can actually upload all the relevant documents that we need for the underwriting, etc. Of course, there are teams there, and like there are conversations with the borrower if needed, etc. And the plan is to do the same in Canada with a local partner.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is that, like the vision is that instantly the property investors in one click can see terms for a loan. Like the platform can generate the indicative terms, and then, if it's the truth, it's like basically based on the data that we have on the platform, then the user will get those terms when we originate the loan. So this is basically the vision, and it's now working in the UK over
Yeah.
2 years, and hopefully in Canada soon. In the meantime, we have a partnership with HomeWise, so we present live mortgage products from Canadian mortgage lenders.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, it's not so strong as we have in the UK. So it's not actually integrated into the platform, and the platform knows to analyze the profile and based on that match it to the best product. But it will be there.
Well, it's
So
interesting. We launched a digital platform called DI Vault, which was more about sourcing real estate, and integrates technology, AI, into finding properties in Canada. And, as we roll that out, the technology is really cool. So what I'm hearing in all of this is I'm going, this would probably be a great conversation to have with Lendlord on top of what we're doing. So that's a conversation for another time.
absolutely.
But, if you're talking about in this conversation, around if you're saying, okay, here's the top 5 things, if you're pitching this deal to somebody, I only got a minute, tell me why I should be interested in Lendlord. Can you give me a 3 minute or a 3 point, 5 point kind of boom, 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 boom? Like, is that possible?
Yes, absolutely. First, without lendo or an alternative, okay, in a digital alternative, I would not invest in property, because the most important thing before you invest or you put your money on a deal is to see if the numbers stack up. If what is the potential return for the short term, what is the potential return for the long term, and also run what if scenarios. You need to be prepared. The real estate market is changing. You see, we see it now in the recent year, like years actually. So you need to run worst case scenario, best case scenario, and to take a look for 10 years, and also but also for the first year. Without that, don't invest. So you can do it on spreadsheets, but it's cumbersome, it's
Cumbersome.
time consuming, etc.
Yeah.
And you can use Lendlord for that. And then you can do it from your mobile or from your desktop, whatever. But definitely you have to analyze the deals. Many lenders use or property investor, they consult with the agents, and that's great. But we also have agents, Canadian agents, that use Lendlord to analyze deals for their customers. So basically, I think this is like the main thing that we can provide for active property investors or newbies that just want to get started. The second thing is the managed side. I think that if you own an existing portfolio, it doesn't matter if it's 2 properties or 5 or 20. I think it's so important to be organized, to keep track all of your data in one place. If it's like secured in the cloud, you can access it from anywhere at any time. If something happened, okay, and someone needs to know what you have, you just need to provide him with the credentials of Lendlord, and then he can see exactly like what are the properties, the ownership structure, all the relevant documents. We have the good model to store all your documents for each property, for each owner. So again, data is so important, so crucial part of your business life. And with Lendlord, I think we designed it as a data management platform for property investors. It's not, you can actually adopt other tools, but you need to customize them. We already customized it for you as a property investor. So it's a great place to store your data, run manage your core cash flow as well, and also invest smarter. So I think it's a no-brainer. You have to use a digital tool. It can be Lendlord or other tool, but I think in this time, Lendlord should adopt technology, and I think Lendlord is part of the technology that you should adopt.
I love it. I love it because, again, when we think about what's happening in the world today in terms of real estate and being a real estate investor, we get to a point where it has to be efficient. I often say that clarity equals velocity. And when you have the data in front of you, when it's organized, when you have access to it, that's literally what gives you the clarity and the velocity to make decisions, what you need to do. They're data-driven decisions, not emotion-driven decisions. And for me, that's, as an educator in the space of real estate investors, I just can't seem to say that enough and really get the message across, to get out of the emotional driven decisions, to really look at the data, but again, to make it efficient, to embrace the technology that is changing and evolving. And Lendlord is an example of that. So I love that. So thanks for sharing that kind of background about Lendlord.